Good afternoon, class. Thank you. You can sit down. All right, then today we'll be looking at compound interest after we've corrected the homework that you were given on simple interest. All right, you were, excuse me, you were given questions 1 to 10 to do. For number 1, we already did question C. So the answer for A should be 48 kina. The answer for B should be 990 kina. Okay, you have to find the time. For this one, we did letter F, so letter D. Peter?
4 years.
4 years is correct. And letter E, Kyle?
3 years.
3 years is correct. Number 3, Kiapin. Letter G, you have to find the rate. Number 3, G.
4% per annum.
4%, is it 4? I've got 7. Check your working out, Kiapin. Gabriel, H. Oh, you were not here. Chutaili, letter H.
12%.
12%. Right, letter I we did, it's 10% for letter I. Right, number 4, you have to now find the principal required. You need to do letters J, K, N. The other one should be L. All 3, yeah. Or did we do one? No, so letter J. The simple interest to be on money invested for 3 years at 5%. No money. Okay. Letter K then.
200 kina.
200 kina is correct. Letter L, then
1,200 kina.
1,200 kina is also correct. Number 5, 500 kina is invested for 7 years at 10% per year simple interest. How much will be the investment worth after this period?
850 kina.
850 kina. That's the principal plus the interest. Good. Number 6, 2,000 kina was invested at 12%. This investment is now worth 2,960. You have to find how many years the money was invested. Velma?
4 years.
4 years is correct. Good. You have to calculate the sum of the money that will yield a simple interest of 144 kina in 3 years at 8% per year. That's number 7.
600 kina.
600
Kina.
kina. You all agree? Yes. Number 8, Solomon.
2.64 years.
Okay, 2.64 years. Whatever that is. Around 2 years, 7 months or. George, number 9.
268 kina.
268 kina is correct. Number 10, Andrew. What are you asked? Calculate the revised rate of, could I explain it? Anyone got 5%? No? A man borrowed 800 kina at 6% per year simple interest, and after 9 months he repaid 500 kina. You have to find the total amount of money that he has to pay back in 9 months. How many years is 9 months? How many years is 9 months? It's 3/4 of a year. It's 9 over 12, that's 3/4. So we have to find the interest in 9 months. So interest will be, the principal is 800, that's the amount that was borrowed, multiplied by the rate, which is 6%, and multiplied by the number of years, which is 9 months, and 9 months is the same as 3/4 of a year. Okay. So we get 48 divided by 4 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36 kina. That's interest. But we have to add it on to the principal to find out how much this man has to pay back in 9 months. Clear? So the total he has to pay back in 9 months is 800 plus 36 kina, which is 836 kina. But he only paid 500 kina because it says he paid 500 kina after 9 months. So we have to subtract that to see the amount of money that he has left to pay. So amount left will be 836 kina minus 500 kina, which is 336 kina. Then it says the rate of interest on the amount still owing was then lowered, and after a further 9 months, the whole loan was discharged by a payment of 348 kina 60 toya. Okay, we have to find the revised rate of interest. Okay, the rate would be 100 multiplied by the interest over PT. Okay, the amount still owing is 336 kina. So that would be what? According to the formula, that would be the principal. So 100 multiplied by I over, we know the principal is 336 kina. The time is 3/4. Now how can we find I? It says the loan was discharged by a payment of 348 kina 60 toya. So in this period of time, the interest plus the principal altogether added was 348 kina 60 toya. So how can we find the interest, Miriam?
You minus 336 kina from 348 kina 60
60
toya.
toya, very good. So the interest is 348 kina 60 toya minus 336 kina. You just told me that is now the new principal. So the total amount take away the principal will give you the interest. So 348 kina 60 toya take away 336 will give us, I can't hear, 12 kina 60. And that's what you put here. So 100 multiplied by 12 kina 60 toya over 336 kina times 3/4. Okay, what's the rate now? 5%? Okay, 5% is the revised rate. It's been dropped from 6% to 5%. Clear? Is there any other question you would like me to explain? 9? Okay, the interest on a sum of money invested for 4 years at 3.5% per year exceeds the simple interest on the same amount, the same sum at 4.5% for 3 years. We are asked to find the sum that was invested, which means we are asked to find the principal that was invested. So let's say let the principal be X, since you are so used to the letter X instead of the letter P, and when another letter is used, you see stars. Okay, the interest on a sum of money is X. It says if it's invested for 4 years at 3.5%, it is more than if it was invested at 4.5 years for 3 years by 1 kina 34 toya. So if it was invested, if X amount of money was invested for 4 years at 3.5, then the interest would be 3.5% of 4 times X. Sorry, I might confuse you. P, which is X, R, which is 3.5%, and T, which is 4 years. P, R, T. That's the interest you would get if this amount of money was invested at that. So I'll just call that interest 1. Interest 2 is the same amount of money, but at 4.5%. And for how many years? 3 years. Okay, this is the other interest. One of them is more than the other by 1 kina 34 toya. Which one is more, I1 or I2? You all agree it's I1? Yes. Okay, so what do? Subtract I2 from I1 and I will get 1 kina 34 toya. So X times 3.5% times 4, take away X times 4.5% times 3 equals 1 kina 34 toya. Note that for simple interest too, it's actually the same as increasing. That's if you want to get the total amount of money straight away, you can increase the value. So now we have, if I multiply through by 100, I will get, what's 3.5 times 4? 14, so 14x minus 4.5 times 3 is 13.5, so 13.5x equals 134. Okay, I am multiplying through by 100. If I do here, it will cancel with this one. Then I do on this, it cancels with this one. And then I multiply also 100 on the other side. Is it clear? Okay. So here I would get 14x on 100. This one would be 13.5x on 100. And then you can multiply by 100 on both sides. 14 minus 13.5 is 1.5. So 1.5x equals 134. And you divide 134 by 1.5. Oh, it's 0.5. Okay, 0.5. 134 by 0.5 is the same as 134 divided by half, which is 134 multiplied by 2, 268. Kina, yes. Is that all? Any other questions you want me to explain? No? Okay. Compound interest. The difference between compound interest and simple interest is that for compound interest, the interest that is earned from the principal that is invested, right? The interest also earns interest again. Like for simple interest, if you invested 200 kina, only that 200 kina will, what's the word I should use? Or the interest will be calculated only on the 200 kina. But if you invest 200 kina for compound interest, which hardly happens because the banks will lose all their money. Only when you make a loan, like I said, they will charge you on compound interest. Okay, if you invested 200 kina in the first year, let's say you invested it at 5% per year, compound interest. And you were asked to, where did I get PG from? You are asked to, you invested for 4 years. No, 4 years is too many. Let's say 3 years. I'll just increase that one by a little bit more and it becomes 2,000. Okay, if you invest 2,000 kina at 5% per year compound interest, how much money should you get after 3 years? And this is what happens. To find the interest, you get 5% of 2,000 kina and you get 100 kina, I hope. Yes? Okay. You then add that 100 kina to 2,000 kina. That gives you an amount of money. So you get 2,000 plus 100, you get 2,100 kina. That would be the amount of money that you would get after 1 year, or that you would have in the bank after 1 year. Okay, that's 1 year. Second year, you have to then, they calculate 5% of 2,100. So that interest there, that 100 kina also earns interest again. So you get 5% of 2,500, that gives you around 105 kina, maybe, check please. And then you now add the 2,100 kina to 105 and you get 2,205 kina. This is a really good way to invest money, but whether the banks allow you to do that, I don't know. And then in the third year, you get 5% of 2,205, which is not very easy for me to calculate. 125. 110 kina, 25 toya. So after 3 years, you will have 2,205 kina plus 110 kina, 25 toya in the bank, which is 3,300 and 2,315 kina, 25 toya. Whereas if you invested the same amount of money at simple interest, your interest will only be 2,000 times 5 times 3 over 100. You will get 100 times 3, 300 kina. But for here, the interest will be 315 kina, 25 toya. So it's 15 kina more. If you invest it further, it will earn a lot more interest. Whereas this one, the interest is the same every year. It's 100 kina first year, 100 kina second year, 100 kina third year. That's why you end up with 300 kina interest. Okay. So that's the difference between simple interest and compound interest. But since you are in grade 11, you are going to be taught how to use the calculator and a formula to be able to use this. So I'm going to remove this. And see if you followed what I did. Okay. If P represents the initial amount of money that's invested or that is loaned, P is the principal, R is the rate. Okay, this time we use N which represents the number of, I'll call it number of periods the interest is calculated, or sometimes it also means the number of years, depends. Okay, and A would be the amount. Okay, the amount after n years or after the calculations are made. Okay. I want to derive the formula so you know where it comes from. The formula is given there, but I want to show you how to get that formula so that in later years, if you are asked to derive it, you will know. Now, if P is the principal that is invested, the interest in the first year will be R% of P. Okay, certain percentage of the principal. The amount after the first year is going to be the principal, like I just did, 2,000 plus the interest. So the principal plus the interest, which is R% of P. Are you with me? Huh? I hear only 3 people saying yes. Are we together? Yes. Okay, now if I factorize this, I get P and I get 1 plus R on 100. Okay, that's after the first year. If the amount of money P kina is invested at R%, then this is the amount you'll end up with in the first year. Okay, in the second year, what is the principal now? What is the principal now? It's P times 1 plus R over 100. That's the new amount of money. So the interest in the second year is going to be R% of P okay, I'll use the multiplication sign. R% of P times 1 plus R over 100. Okay, I want the amount. The amount is the principal the year before plus the interest. Are you still with me? Like I did before. That's because you were not following when I explained this one. If you start with 2,000 kina, the first interest that we got was 100 kina. We added that interest to 2,000 and we got 2,100. Then in the second year, we calculated 5% of 2,100. And then we added to 2,100, which is what I'm trying to say. So this is like 2,100. This is the interest. So I will have to add this, which is P times 1 plus R on 100. I have to add it to the interest, which is R% of P times 1 plus R on 100. Okay. Can you see a common factor? What? Peter. Oh, where's the mic? Pondrile, can you give me a common factor?
P times 1 plus R over 100.
Good. P times 1 plus R over 100. Now what is left in the other set of brackets? Only R over 100. 1 plus R over 100. Here it comes from, the 1 comes from here. Remember what you do when you factorize? If this is the common factor, I divide this one by this, I get 1. Then I divide this by this, I get r over 100 left. So plus r over 100. This is now p times 1 plus r over 100 to the power of 2. This is after 2 years. Should I do it for 1 more year? Okay, we'll see if you understand. Okay, what is the interest now for the 3rd year? R percent of what? P times 1 plus R on 100. Good, you know what you're saying. Now, that's the interest amount. P times 1 plus R over 100 squared plus the interest. So, R percent of P times 1 plus R on 100 squared. Okay, factorize this for me. The common factor P times 1 plus R over 100 squared. 1 plus R on 100, which is P times 1 plus R on 100 cubed. This is after 3 years. Okay. If the principal is invested for n years, what is the formula going to be? This is 3 if it is invested for 3 years. 2 if it is invested for 2 years. This one will be 1 if it's invested for 1 year only. Okay, I want the formula for the amount if it is invested for n years. It will be P times 1 plus to the power of n. And that's the formula I asked you to substitute into, and some of you didn't get the answer correctly. Okay, this is the formula for compound interest. But note, A is the amount, it's not the interest. Like for simple interest, I is the interest. You get the formula for the interest. This one is the formula for the amount. To get the interest, you will have to subtract the principal from the amount. So I will be equal to A minus P, where A is the amount and P is the principal. Okay, note n doesn't represent only the number of years, it represents the number of times the interest is calculated. So if it's calculated every 6 months, then n will be 2 for 1 year. If it's calculated every quarter, then n will be 4 for 1 year. Okay. See if you can find the answer to question 1 quickly. Calculate the amount occurring after 5 years if 250 kina is invested at 8%. Quickly, just use your calculator and this formula. Anyone with an answer? $367 kina 33 toya. Okay, for homework you have questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, you have to work out the interest. 8, 9, and 10, you have to calculate the amount. 11, 12, 13, calculate the interest. Okay, that's your homework for today. And the keyword for today is compound. Please stand. Good afternoon, class.